Hi guys, it's Laura and today is my September/October book haul. Okay, so as you may know, I don't actually often buy loads of books. I bought a few books in September/October, but a lot of them were free for many different reasons. So let's start off with the books that I brought in September/October. Now the first book I brought was part of the buy one get one half price thing at Waterstones, which is a godsend. Me and my sister went to town and we brought a few books, and the first one I brought was Solitaire by Alice Osman. Now a lot of people have been talking about this and I was tied between a lot of books, but then I read this. Yep, this one is actually signed by the author. It says Alice Osman there, and I was like, this sounds really intriguing, and I've seen a lot of people talk about it and I love the cover and it's signed, so I picked it up. Now the next one I picked up was another one in the buy one get one half price offer, and that was The Pointless Book by Alfie Days. Now if you didn't know already, Alfie Days is a YouTube basically sensation. Alfie is dating Zoella, who's also another UK YouTuber who's really well known. I watch both of them. I probably watch Zoella more than I do Alfie Days. But me and my sister both picked one of these up because we thought we want it, and I really wanted to get this journal, but I've never picked it up. And I saw this one there and I thought, why not pick it up? And this one's got loads of different activities in it. For example, draw a finger selfie, phone bingo, and all kind of things like that. So I'm really looking forward to having a bit of a play with this one. The final book I brought that day from Waterstones was one that everyone talks about, and I've never picked it up. I don't really know much about it except it's got an assassin in it. However, I saw this, saw nothing was wrong with it at discounted price, and was like, I'm not missing this. And that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. Now, apparently this is a bit miscut. Now, in all honesty, there's nothing really wrong with this, except the page 203 has a little miscut there, which, in all honesty, considering it's £3 and it's one page in the book, I just decided to pick it up. I mean, I'm not going to miss out on a chance to have a well-known and popular book at discount price. I don't know much about these, but I really look forward to delving into a different kind of world that I haven't really looked at before, and I'm really hoping I enjoy this one. Okay, so the last book I actually brought over the time period of September-October is one I have been talking about. So if you haven't already guessed already, it's the new Sophie Kinsella book, Shopaholic to the Stars. I haven't read it yet. Normally when I get a Sophie Kinsella book, I'd read it straight away. However, I want to reread the entire series before I read this one because it's been a few years since I read them. I really can't wait to read this eventually because I love Sophie Kinsella. She makes me laugh and cry, and I just love her writing. It's so witty and lovely. Plus, she's bringing out a YA novel next year, and I'm super excited for that. I can't remember the title, but I've got it written down somewhere. I'm really looking forward to it, especially since Sophie Kinsella is one of my favourite authors. YA is just awesome, so I'm really looking forward to it. Now the rest of the books I've got are books I haven't actually purchased myself. First off, we've got this one here, which is called Once Upon a Time by Marina Warner. Now, I won this on a Goodreads giveaway, and this is such a cute book. I'm not even kidding, it's tiny. I say tiny, but then I put my hand up against it and my hand's tiny. It is a beautiful book. This is about fairy tales, and it's called A Short History of Fairy Tales, and it talks about fairy tales basically, and I'm a big sucker for fairy tales, and I've done a lot about fairy tales in uni, so I thought this should just be a really nice, neat, tiny book to read, and I can't wait to do my review on this. Now the final books I have to share with you guys are books that I've kind of acquired. My nan is moving house in a month-ish, but she's moving house before Christmas, and so she's going through a lot of her stuff and they're sorting her stuff out, and my nan is one of these people who literally goes, you can take anything you want, and she's got a lot of books, and so I decided to choose some of the books to take with me. So the first book I've got is actually the second in a series, and the reason why I'm keeping it is because I might one day purchase the first one and then read the series, but the second one sounds really good. Obviously I need to read the first one first, and that is The Valley of Horses by Jean M. All. I'm not really sure what this is about. I'll check on the back. It says something about the glacial continent of the last ice age, epic adventures, something to do with bears on here, and I think it's kind of a fantasy, and it sounds really, really good. I hope I can get the first one in the series. It's quite a neat little book. So yeah, it does sound really interesting. Let me know if you've read anything like this or any books in the series, because I want to know if it's worth keeping. Now, talking of books at my nan's house, my auntie used to live at my nan's house, and there was a pile of books to go to the charity shop, and one of the books in there was one I got my auntie a while back, and she's read it, but I want to read it, and that is Miranda Hart, Is It Just Me? Now, I probably won't keep this once I've read it, but I love Miranda the TV series, and Miranda's such a lovely person, and I just really want to read it, so yeah. Next to share with you guys is a book that's quite well known, and that is The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. The next book I picked up is a book by an author that my nan had a lot of and my auntie had a lot of, and I decided to pick this one up because it looks interesting, and I've never read anything by this author either. And that is Maeve Binchy, and this one's called Minding Frankie. And from what I can tell, this is about families and relationships and stuff that aren't quite what they seem. And it sounds really intriguing. I've only got 2 of Maeve Binchy's books, but I want to see if I'm interested in her kind of books. Now, next up is a book from a genre that I haven't read really anything from, and that is Afterlight by Alex Scarrow. Now, I remember him writing some books when I was working back at the bookstore I used to work at, but this is about civilization gone and humanity and how it goes from there. It's basically about 10 years after a massive oil crisis, and to me, a big kind of environmentalist, this sounds really intriguing, and I just can't wait to see what kind of storyline it has. Next up is another book that I probably never read anything from, but it sounded intriguing, and that is There's Always Tomorrow by Pam Weaver. Now, Pam Weaver is quite a well-known author in this genre she writes in, and I don't really know much about this, but I thought I'd give it a go. I wanted to read some different stuff. Next one is yet again another well-known one, and that is A Passage to India by E.M. Forster. Now, this cover is just beautifully decorated, and it's a really lovely book. I don't really know much about this, except that I'd really like to read it, and yeah. Now, next up is a book that when I saw it I kind of went, oh, must have that, and that is Thomas Hardy's Far From That In Crowd. Now, I have borrowed from my nan's house before Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and she kind of let me keep it. I haven't read Tess of the D'Urbervilles yet, but however, it's a classic, and I'm a sucker for well-known classics and wanting to read them, so I kind of collect them, and we'll get round to reading them eventually. Now, next up is very fitting with Halloween just gone. I've never read really anything from this genre either. Annoyingly, the light's going as I'm filming this, so just stay with me. This book is Want to Play ? Hide and Seek and Kill, PJ Tracy. Now, this sounds really creepy, in all honesty. This is about a woman who's developed a video game, and someone's creating these copycat killings in reference to the video game she's created, and so basically the woman ends up being a victim and a suspect at the same time. I just think this sounds really creepy and want to play. It sounds really creepy. I will not be reading this at night time, but one day I hope to read this and kind of get more into the horror thriller genre as well. Next up is another 2 books that I kind of wanted to grab as soon as I saw them, and these are by Lucy Dillon, and that is Lost Dogs and Lonely Hearts and Walking Back to Happiness. Now, I am a sucker for chick lit, and these covers just beautiful, snowy, autumny kind of feel, and I think they'd be really good to read around Christmas, especially this one. I'm just a really sucker for really girly chick lit. I just find they make me very happy and cuddly and warm inside, so yeah, these 2. Next up is a poem book that I actually used to read when I was at my nan's house and used to stay around my nan's house, and that is a poem for every day of the year, Read Me 10th Anniversary Edition. But yeah, I love poems. I'm a big poetry fan. I think poems are very underrated, especially on BookTube. I think we should get some poetry going on BookTube. But yeah, this book, I used to read a lot of the poems on it. I used to always check out which ones were my birthdays and then read the days. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading some more poems from it. Now we're on to the final 2 books, and literally the sun's setting and everything's getting ridiculously dark. But bear with me, hopefully you can still see. The 2 last books I've got are very different kind of books to the other ones, and that is A New Forest Fox Family by Thelma Clarke. Now I actually live quite close to the New Forest, it's only like a drive away, and I'm a big fan of foxes, and I was looking inside and this is the cutest book I've ever seen. Let me find a chapter page. So this is chapter 8, it's got a beautiful fox cartoon on it, and it's just a really cute story about foxes, and I just couldn't see this go to the charity really. So yeah. The final book I have to share with you guys is another one I couldn't see go to the charity, and that's because it means something a little bit to me, and that is They Carried the Sword, the Bernardo story by Janet Hitchman. Now, my nan actually used to work at Bernardo's, and I thought it'd be really interesting to find out more about the place she worked at. And yeah, that's it really. I don't know much about Bernardo's, except my nan used to work there and I think she enjoyed it, so yeah. So that's the end of the book haul today. I am not going to be holding these up because looking at them on the floor, they're everywhere and it's gone a bit crazy in here. So let me know if you've read any of the books I've mentioned or read anything by those authors, especially the ones that I haven't really read anything of before. And so yeah, that's the end of my video. It's gone really dark and I really need to turn the light on, and my memory's failing on my camera as well. So I hope to see you guys soon with another video, and I can't wait to hear your comments.